Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of The Awesome with Cody. As usual, I'm your host, Cody, and today we're continuing January's theme of awesome comic book creators. So, today we're talking about Johnathan Hickman. Johnathan Hickman is an American comic book writer and artist. He has worked for Image Comics. He's written for Marvel Comics, and he did a couple independents out there as well. So Johnathan Hickman right now is actually working for Marvel doing a bunch of the X-Men stuff. Started that in 2019, and has been doing, extremely well. And he's got, I think, 5 different ones. I can't remember how many it is. It's like House of X, Powers of X, X-Men, New Mutants. Well, actually, New Mutants ended last year. I don't know if that's actually continuing or not. And then he has some... Well, they did giant-size X-Men. That's a whole different thing. So he has four different ones that are still going on. So, yeah, he's got a lot going on his plate over there, as well as doing a lot of the... he's part of the crossover events, too, when they do things with the Avengers and stuff. Actually, he was part of the Avengers versus X-Men a couple years back. 8 years back in 9 years back in 2012. So he's done a lot of good stuff over at Marvel for sure. He's touched on every major Marvel character. For the most part, the biggest one, I guess, he hasn't really focused a lot of writing on is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is in a lot of his books. He's never actually, as far as I know, has never really done an ongoing or long form Spider-Man book. He's worked on Fantastic Four, Avengers, X-Men. He did Secret Warriors, which is a bunch of different characters. He did Secret War, the new one, not the original. Like I said, Fantastic Four. He worked with S.H.I.E.L.D. He worked on Ultimate Comics, both Thor, Fallout, and Ultimates. So it's Fallout and Ultimates is a group book, so it was basically the Avengers and stuff like that, and then Thor, of course, is just Thor. But yeah, so that's the stuff he did through Marvel. All of it's really good. Secret Wars was fantastic. His Fantastic Four run, his FF run, was amazing. He did in 2009. He started a Fantastic Four run, and then he went on to writing FF, which is basically a take on the Fantastic Four called the Future Foundation. That one was really good. Ran for, I don't know, 4. How many story arcs did it have, actually? Speaking of which, 4? Yeah, 4. It was really fun, too, and it had a large cast of characters in it, including Spider-Man. Like I said, Spider-Man has been in a lot of his books, just never run, as far as I know, never written an ongoing Spider-Man book, but I would read it if he wrote one. But yeah, there's Future Foundation had a ton of different characters in it. Fantastic Four is in it, of course. Ant-Man was in it. Human Torch, well, of course, Human Torch is in it. Had She-Hulk was in it at one point. Like I said, Spider-Man was in it. There's a lot of different people who've gone in and out of that, but it was mostly around the Fantastic Four and their family, and a couple friends have joined in since then. But really good book too if you want to check that out. I did not check on Comixology on any of these this week. I should have, and I probably could right now, but I'm not going to. I just assume that they're on there to read either by pay or some of them probably by free, and I can look them up. But might as well while I'm talking. So Johnathan Hickman, like I said, he's a writer as well as an artist in the comic world. One of his first books that he did was a book called The Nightly News. He wrote for Image Comic. Well, I didn't say one of his first books, but one of his first creator-owned books from Image Comics was written in 2006 called The Nightly News. It's a 6-part miniseries that he created. He wrote and illustrated it. So he created it, wrote it, artist, lettered, colored, and edited it. So a lot of it was all him. But it's a really good story arc, story arc. It's a really good story. Like I said, it's a 6-part miniseries, or a 6-part issue series, whatever you want to call it. I think they call it limited series or something. And it's basically, synopsis real quick. At an anti-globalization rally in New York City, a sniper called John Guyton, who calls himself the Hand of the Voice, shoots a protester, causing panic. However, his true target is soon revealed when he, along with a couple of allies, proceed to gun down multiple reporters and camera crew who arrive to cover the story. All three, along with their fellow brothers and sisters, are members of a revolutionary cult made up of individuals whose lives were destroyed when they were targeted by sensationalistic, irresponsible, and or fraudulent media coverage, and all were determined to destroy the mainstream media under the guidance of the Voice, who is the leader of the group, who communicates with them only by cassette tape. It's a real fun book. Y'all should check it out. One of my favorite parts about it is the kind of like lens it focuses on media. As we all know, media can be very biased and not well maintained or controlled. And this kind of is a very dark light to put on it, and one would say. But it's definitely something that's even nowadays more poignant than anything else. Let's see here. I don't see nightly news on here. Of course, this is all just single issues coming soon. Oh, coming soon isn't. Decorum number 7. I wonder if there's probably collected versions of nightly news out there somewhere. I'm looking at the graphic novels by Johnathan Hickman and seeing if there's a one. This day and age, Image probably should have released a collected version of all 6 issues of it. I guess I can just look for the nightly news. But anyways, so it's a really good story and a really great book to read, or 6 issues to read. I don't know if you want to call it that or not. The Nightly News series graphic novel. Yeah, you can get it for about $13 or so, digitally as well as probably in print as well. Actually, maybe not. It is older. Some of those older books are hard to find. Image doesn't always keep them in stock or in print, so it might be a little harder to find, but it is well worth it if you want to track it down digitally or physically and check it out. It's a good time. Next up, of high points to read of Jonathan's. I call him that because we're super close friends that have never met each other. The next book I'll be talking about is God is Dead. God is Dead is really only partially his. He helped create it with a gentleman named Mike Costa. They did the first story arc together, which is the first 6 issues, and then after that, Hickman left the book, and Mike Costa kept it going for another, I think, 6? Was it 6 issues? Or not 6 issues. 6 volumes total, right? I think. I can't remember. There was a bunch. I can't remember how many there were. But you can check that one out too. That's really good. I've only read the first 3 story arcs. But it's a really cool book, which if you have read one of his bigger books, which I'll get to in a minute, called East of West, then you'll understand why I'm going to say this. This seems like a precursor to East of West. East of West is a book that Johnathan Hickman created with Nick Dragata. I think it's Dragata. I'm not too sure how to say his name. To tell you the truth, I'm terrible names, just in general. But I really enjoyed the first story arc. I enjoyed story arc 2 and 3, but the issues 1 through 6, the first story arc was the best to me, and maybe it got better. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't finish those ones, but the covers are really cool. But basically, the whole thing is trying to say this. There's a long explanation. There's a shorter explanation. Oh well, I'll redo this. Well, no, that's not even going to give it the same. Yeah, I'll give you the first bit of this. So in 2015, a man claiming to be Zeus and the ancient Greek god of thunder arrives in the Vatican City and claims the earth as his domain. The event becomes known as the Second Coming. In subsequent months, several other figures claiming to be gods and goddesses emerge as if from nowhere, I can't speak, and begin to divide the earth into different territories. Fighting between the various gods breaks out and drags the earth into war. So that's essentially the first, or kind of the overarching everything on it. And originally, it began as a 6-part miniseries, but then it was continued on with Mike Costa writing the rest of it and expanding on the world. And then later on, a second story arc called God is Dead, the Book of Acts, was released in 2016, which had Alan Moore and Simon, I think it's pronounced Spurrier, on the book as well, which is I don't want to say spin-off, but it's in the same world of it. I've never read it, so I'm not too sure what it is, but I know it's there are two different ones. I think there's yes. Oh yeah. Here it is. There's Omega, and there's Alpha and Omega. Alpha was written by Alan Moore, and then the second part of that was written, or called Omega, was written by Kieran Gillen, right? I could be wrong about that too. Hold on. Written by Kieran Gillen. Yep. Again, I haven't read those ones, so I'm not too sure where they go from there. But I do know that the first 6 issues are spectacular and should be read by everybody. You can get them. Apparently, you can get them digitally on Comixology. I'm sure they have the graphic novels too. Let's issue graphic novel. Collects issues 1 through 3 of the Dead God. Well, that's not even the right one. No, that's a different one. That's not what I wanted. That's Dead God. No. Did they not do? Wow, God is Dead didn't have a... No way. That's single issues. Wow, okay, I'm shocked that apparently... Or Comixology doesn't have them, but there doesn't seem to be trades or collections of them. I have the individual issues. So, I mean, that's how I read them. I expected them to have the actual trades, but I don't see them at all. I just see the individual issues. Weird. Okay. Interesting. Not exactly what I expected. Expected to see trades of those. I could have swore I've seen trades of those before. Weird. I don't know. Anyhow, That is God is Dead from Avatar. Is it Avatar Press? Yeah, Avatar Press. So you should check that out because it's pretty awesome. It shocks me. That's Bad Karma. Right? No, that's the series. So strange. Anyhow. After that, so next thing up to talk about for his series, I guess you'd say, is the Manhattan Projects. The Manhattan Projects is a story that he wrote with artist Nick Parada, I believe how you say his name. Again, I'm terrible with names, but I believe it's how you pronounce his name. It is from Image Comics as well. It was 25 issues total. And then had it ran for 3 years, 2012 to 2015, I believe. Had 6 different story arcs, and was fantastic. This is another one of those I talked about it before, like alternate history type stories. So I guess the easy premise would be let's see. So basically, if you know what the Manhattan Project is, you kind of have an idea what the Manhattan Projects would be. So basically, what if the research and development department created what if the research and development department created to produce the world's first atomic bomb was the front for a series of others, more unusual programs? What is the union of generation's brightest minds was not a signal for optimism, but foreboding? What if everything went wrong? Welcome to the Manhattan Projects. Basically, what that basically means is everybody who's ever part of... So basically, the people who made the atomic bomb, Einstein and all those people, they essentially are part of this group that not just created just one doomsday device, but several doomsday devices. And that's a really terrible way of describing it, but it's probably one of the better ones. But it's the biggest and best names from all of the generation that time were brought in and were a cabal of brains that devised other things for someone or a group of people to basically become world domination, to take over the world, essentially. I'm trying to vaguely say what it is without talking. I mean, I can talk all about it, it doesn't matter. But essentially, it's all the smartest people who have ever, again, alternate universe, where like a lot of these people who believe they were doing good things throughout their careers, and the weapons or ideas were turned into weapons and stuff. Those all people were working together in general and weren't really being taken advantage of. They were and they weren't. Anyways, it's a really good book. You should check it out. There's 3 different volumes. You can get. Pretty sure you can probably get it. Again, digitally. I closed that window. But you can get him there. I mean, again, he's phenomenal, and should always be known as being phenomenal. He's done a lot of cool shit in that book that I think really I don't know if too many people actually talked about it, but I think it's one of his best things he did. And I enjoy it quite a bit. And I think other people should enjoy it as well, or would enjoy it well. Not should. You should enjoy this as well, but will enjoy it as well because it's a really fun book and really well written. And art's actually really, really good in it too. They kind of, they use real people, so like they're recognizable as Albert Einstein and all these other scientists. Well, if you know who they are, and presidents and stuff like that. But the art in general is just really, really good in it. And I enjoyed it a lot. And then it was the second series they did in the Manhattan Project was done a little different. Well, not differently. I say differently. It was from a different angle from it. So the it has to do with Russians and other things like this. Anyways, it's in space essentially, but it's really good as well. And you should check that one out if you want to continue down that rabbit hole. It's also written by Johnathan Hickman and art by Nick Parada. Someone's got to pronounce that differently than me, probably correctly. But you can check that one out too. That one's called The Manhattan Project's The Sun Beyond the Stars, and is just as good. I mean, I think it was, again, a different lens or angle for it, but just as good of a story. Not as sprawling because there's only 4 issues, but The Manhattan Projects was a very short-lived book, being 25 issues itself, but really, really, really good, and you should check that one out as well. All right, so that brings us to a book that I mentioned earlier called East of West. East of West is a book written by Johnathan Hickman and drawn by Nick Dragata. Phenomenal art by Nick, tremendous, amazing writing. It is actually just wrapped up. It ended its run in the end of 2019. A total of 45 issues. It was 6 issues each. Oh no, 5 issues each. Sorry, roughly 5 issues each. That range anywhere from a total of 10 volumes. Am I right on that? 10 volumes? Or 3 books. Actually, is the third book out? I think the third book's out. Or it's about to come out? I can't remember. I think the third book's about to come out or just came out. I can't remember when it was. But there's the books are the collections of hardcovers. So book 1 includes the first 3 story arcs. Book 2 includes the 4, 5, and 6 and then the World Part 1 and Part 2 respectively, which are I guess you could almost say like annual issues in a way, even though they're not traditionally annuals because there's like gaps of when they're released. But they're 2-part. Well, okay, can't really say that. Well, yeah, 2 parts. I believe it's 2 parts. Anyhow, and those ones, and then book 3 will most likely include volumes 7, 8, 9, and 10, which will include issues 30 through 45 to end it up. I guess we could look to see. East of West is on Unlimited too. Oh man, yeah, buddy. So that's a good one. Oh my God, there's so many. How many? Can you read the whole? No way. I think all of it is available on Comixology. What? Oh, it's only 24 though. Never mind. Cancel that. I thought it went higher than that. I thought there was more. It only goes up to 24. So half of it is available in Comixology, but that'll give you a good chunk of it to check out and read, because it's all good. So you're asking yourself, well, Cody, what's this about? Let me give you a little bit of what it's about. So the premise is pretty wild. You say the shortest synopsis I can give you is, in this world, it is not the one we wanted, but it's the one we deserved. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse roam the earth, signaling the end of times for humanity, and our best hope for life lives in death. So it's a very weird way of saying it, but basically what happens is the 4 horsemen are resurrected to bring about the end of the world. And in this basic way of saying this is, the world doesn't end and there's no life on Earth. It just basically, life as we know it ends and then evolves into something new. And what happens is, the reason this hasn't happened before is Death has fallen in love, and he has a kid. Spoiler, I guess. And he is essentially trying to stop. He keeps stopping the other 3 horsemen from bringing about the apocalypse because of his child. That's the best way of putting it. There's a lot more to it than that, like there normally is. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but it's fantastic. You should read it. There are 10 different individual trades you can get. There are 3. Actually, I'm gonna pull up right now. I know there's 2 books out right now. I want to say the 3rd one's out. But I mean, I could be, again, completely and utterly wrong about that. Let's pull it up. But it's just a whole hell of a lot of fun. It's amazing art, like I said. Tremendous storytelling. Some of the best storytelling you can possibly imagine. Sorry, I'm typing and I looked at the wrong thing. It is just, it's a great story to read. It's so much different than anything you can imagine that it would be. I'm just gonna click on one of these until hopefully it gives me the. Okay, there's book 2 or year 2. That's the last issue. Tremendous cover. Is that year 3? Year 3. Haha, November. It came out in November. And I believe it has all of it in there, right? Issues. Yeah, 30 through 45. I was correct. Not to pat myself on the back, but they're oversized. I should mention the trade paperbacks are regular comic book sizes. But the hardcovers, as Image often does, is oversized and has a matte cover that's got different characters on the front of them, but they're like a smooth. They're like a rough matte, but they're smooth, but they're really nice. They don't need dust covers, even though I would have liked some Nick Dragotta dust covers to go on there, but that's okay. Dust covers can kind of get ruined in a bookshelf, especially if you're rereading them. The covers are pretty cool because they're very stark, and a lot of times feature characters from that issue or previous issues that have to do with the story, and go out through the whole thing, and it's just a really good time. You should definitely check them out. Again, you can get them. The individual volumes are like anywhere from $10 to $12, actually maybe $10 to $15. I don't even remember. Maybe a little more because volume 10 is $17. So anyways, less than $20 for each of them, and then $50 for each of the the hardcover books. Those ones might be a little harder to get because again, the hardcovers don't stick around for a long, long time. They only press them in a very short amount, but I believe you can get them still through most places. Again, Image is really good unless they're like their collector's editions ones. They're usually really good about getting you that stuff. So you can probably still find the hardcovers, and they're not that old. So, especially since year 3 just came out in November, it should be fairly easy to get if you'd like to get them that way and enjoy them. Otherwise, like I said, you want to try it. Comixology Unlimited has the first 24 issues, which will essentially include volumes 1 through 5. Yeah, 1 through 5. So half of the, I guess I should have done math. Half of them are available digitally through Comixology Unlimited, so you can check them out and see them or read them that way. But yeah, that's it for East of West. The last thing I will talk about briefly, because it's a fairly newer book, is a monthly book that he has started in 2016 with Tom Coker, I think is how you pronounce his name. It's Tom. It's Tomm. So I guess that's pronounced Tom. But anyways, Johnathan Hickman wrote this. It is another one of his alternate reality books in a way. Essentially, there's this event called Black Monday, which is the stock market crash of 1987. And it all concerns finance elites that have a blood pact with a god in exchange for the power and wealth, and has a. This says secondary narrative. I would say conjoining story. Secondary narrative is good too because it interlaces in ways, which is follows the New York PD detective, who is basically trying to unravel the heart of this mystery that he stumbled upon, because essentially, if you don't know what happened during the stock market crash of 1987 is, when it happened, it was famously known as Black Monday because a ton of financial advisors and stock dudes committed suicide, several of them out of very high windows. A lot of them shot themselves, and it was just hanging, things like that. But in this story, it basically goes through and says that there's a different reason why they died other than committing suicide from essentially losing everything they have in the crash of 1987. But you have to read it to understand what I mean by that. Fantastic book, amazing art. The covers are outstanding. Some of the best covers, some of my favorites of almost any book, really. But if you look up Black Monday Murders and just do a Google image search, you will find tremendous covers that are just outlandishly spooky on some of them. Issue number 5, for example. Well, issue 1 is a great cover, but issue 5 is really good. I'm looking at a couple of them right now. Yeah, I think 5 is one of my favorites. I like 6 a lot too because it's real creepy, but 5 is definitely one of my faves because it has some really weird, wicked imagery, but it's all essentially negative space. I guess you could really say. So it's like it's not negative space. It's a full black image that has white as the detail instead of the opposite where it's a white background with black being the detail. It's hard to explain and I'm an idiot, but just Google search Black Monday Murders issue number 5 and you'll get a cover and it'll be a gentleman sitting on a throne, and I'll leave it at that. And you should check that out because it's pretty goddamn awesome. And the book is really fun too, so I guess you should read that as well. Yeah, I think that's it for Johnathan Hickman books. Oh, I've flubbed up a lot. I forgot to talk about Secret, and I didn't have any of it pulled up. I did have a tab of it. I didn't. Man, I'm so dumb. I forgot to do the fucking research on that one because I was like, I'm so excited about the other ones. Man, okay. getting squeezes in there. I don't know if I can really talk about it. I mean, I have time. I don't know. It's my podcast. I do what I want. So C.O.D.Y is a book that Johnathan Hickman wrote with artist. Again, I don't know if this is how I pronounce his last name, but Ryan Bodaheim? I'm not too sure. I'm terrible with names in general. I mess mine up most of the time. But this is the quickest synopsis and best description without giving away too much. Well, actually, there's no way to give away anything that happens in this. It's 7 issues. I believe you can get it in one trade. And they say volume 1, like this is coming back. This is from years ago. This was, when did C.O.D.Y come out? 2012? Yeah, one trade paperback of 144 pages, issues 1 through 7. Never Get Caught is the name of that trade, and you can read it. So basically, a man gets shot in London. A law firm gets broken into in Washington. An accountant gives away the password to his computer, and something put him to sleep 20 years ago. And something put to sleep 20 years ago awakens. What is this unsavory relationship all three of these share? And how could it bring down two of the largest governments in history of the world? Boom, there you go. They say it's an ongoing, but it only lasted, and it did 6. How many issues came out first? I guess I should have looked that up on Image too. I know like a handful of the issues came out. Actually, this is going to tell me on here. I'll tell you right now. There was a lot of time in between the issues that came out. So issue 1, is this going to tell me? Yeah, here we go. Original print date for Secret issue 1 came out April 11th, 2022. Issue 7 came out April 2nd, 2014. So I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot of time. You're like, Cody, that seems like it's only 2 years. That's 7 issues in 2 years. Normally in 2 years, a run of books at that point would be either 24 issues or 12 issues if you're doing bi-monthly, or even if you do 6 and then take a break and do 6 more. That's how it is. I don't know if there's more to this story of why it took so long, but I want to say it was between issues. So 1 and 2 were 2 months apart. 2 months apart? 3 months apart. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, 2 months apart. Issue 3 came out almost a year after that. Issue 4 came out a couple weeks after that one did. Actually, it might have been the same day. I can't remember when it was actually released. You want to say around the same day, or same week, or same month. Issue 5 came out a half a year later. Issue 6 came out a month after that. And then issue 7 came out almost a full year from 5. Something like that. I don't know. It took forever for them to come out. And I legit forgot about them until 5 came out. Then 6 came out. And then 7 came out. And I was like, dang, this seemed like it took y'all forever. But we got them, and it's tremendous. And I really like that storyline. I totally said, I brought up a tab with it. And I didn't do research on it like I did the other ones because I'm a bad person, and I apologize for that. Anyhow, that's officially it for this week's episode of The Awesome Cody. I, again, am Cody, your host. We were talking about Johnathan Hickman. We are, of course, continuing the theme of awesome comic creators. And like I always say at the end of these episodes, let's be awesome.